Hey, this is John Mayer. I'm kind of like a cross between a sleazy Vince Vaughn and an angel from heaven. There are a lot of podcasts out there, and most of them are done by big corporations and networks. Some of them just taken right off the radio. But guys like Mike Matthews, they're doing it independently. You should really support the independent podcasts. If you do, I'm gonna love you. I'm gonna love you for the rest of your life. I'm John Mayer.
This show is clean, pretty much.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 836. Hello, it's Mike Matthews broadcasting from Cafe Anyway here at the last place on earth located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, California. Today it's part 2 of my Mike on Mobile Matthews interview from San Francisco with D. Edward and Jenna Lavoie. Plus we hear from Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, and John Deere the engineer. And it grabbed prey from appendages in its head.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
No, I'm not talking about Jennifer Anniston. That reverse shag she had in the 90s grabbed a lot of men.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
We'll talk about that news story on this show. So if you happen to be new to this show, I started this shenanigan about 4 years ago. And the name Mike's Daily Podcast was decided so that you would know that it's a podcast and it's daily and that I am your host. And I will keep calling it a podcast no matter how poorly that name tests.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I was told that bit of information by Aaron Fonseca, and today I am a guest
Mike's
on his podcast.
Daily
Elizabeth Snodgrass
Podcast.
was my kindergarten crush.
Yeah!
I wonder where she is now, Elizabeth. No, wait, it was Elizabeth Mossgrove. Not that that name's any better, but what are these? Lord of the Rings names? Look who just walked in. Hello, my God, this is Chely Shoehart, job supervisor. Oh my God, that is like such a neat name, Mossgrove. You know, that would actually be kind of a pretty place, a grove that has a lot of moss on it, be really green. We have a lot of mossy areas here in the Bay Area, which I didn't experience when I grew up in Southern California. But now here in Northern California, I'm like, oh, what's that green stuff? That green carpet. Oh, it's moss. My God, moss is like so gross. And now you see the dichotomy of Chely Shoehart. Likes the name Mossgrove, doesn't necessarily like what it is. You can never completely understand me, Mike Matthews. I'm a woman. Look who else just walked in. Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman.
And this is John Deere the engineer. And Mike, on the last show, Bison Bentley appeared to be depressed.
Yes, he kept comparing himself to Chris Hemsworth or Krim Hemsworth.
Yes, Mike Matthews, that would appear to be something that would bring your self-esteem down if you are a male.
That's true, John Deere the engineer. How do you like the decor here of Cafe Anyway, here at the last place on earth where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast, John Deere?
I like it, yes, it's quite nice. But I am a little bit troubled by our recording apparatus.
Yes, our recording apparatus is really whacked out the past couple of days. I don't know, this computer is slowly turning into crap. Or actually, it's quickly turning into crap, so we're a little bit dismayed.
Mike, I don't know what it's going to do next. Is it actually still recording us?
I don't know. What do you suggest, John Deere the engineer?
I suggest a massive defrag.
Mike, the Fraggle Rock was a really nice moss grove.
That made no sense at all.
I know, but it was like poetry inside my head. I'm Floyd the Floorman.
The floor looks so nice here at Cafe Anyway, doesn't it, everyone? Thank you for making the floor look so nice, Floyd.
You're welcome.
So arthropods, what the heck? It was big, it was weird, and this monster from the primordial seas was also a trendsetter, this according to Reuters. Scientists today announced the discovery in southeastern Morocco of beautifully preserved fossils of a huge arthropod. The group that includes crabs, scorpions, insects, spiders, centipedes, and more, and it lived 480 million years ago. It was the Earth's largest animal at the time, at least double the size of anything else. And it's despite its size, it was a gentle giant, and it ate only plankton. It's actually called an Aegirocassis benmule. Hey, I've seen that guy perform in Vegas. It was at least 7 feet long. It is the last known member of a group called Anemolocaridids. Anemolocaridids that included some of the first top predators near the dawn of animal life. Almost all of the group's members were active predators. They grabbed prey with appendages sprouting from their heads. Aegirocassis adopted another feeding strategy. Its appendages acted as a sieve, capturing oodles of plankton. Periodically during Earth's history, large predatory animal groups have produced exceptionally big species that were filter feeders, not active hunters. They were exploiting a plankton explosion that took place during the Ordovician period. And the Aegirocassis represent the beginning of this trend, foreshadowing today's whales and whale sharks. They had a torpedo-like head and an elongated body with 11 segments and 2 sets of flaps, considered precursors to the limbs of more advanced arthropods. The lower flaps were used for swimming. They used rhythmic undulations. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, those certain kind of fish, the water centipede thingies do that. They freak me out. See them at the zoo, and then I go running out of the aquarium room. The upper flaps stabilized the animal in the water and helped steer at higher speeds. Ribbon-like structures, probably functioning as gills, covered its back. 2 appendages near its mouth were specialized for filter feeding, with a series of spines lined with bristle-like structures to sweep up small animals and particles. So this arthropod, which first appeared about 530 million years ago, sits very low on the arthropod evolutionary tree, making today's arthropod multitudes distantly related to them. I don't know about you, but I could sure go for some lobster right now. All of this discovered by Yale University and their paleontologist Peter Van Roy. What do you think about that? Huge, massive, crab-like beings that roamed the earth years ago, but they ate plankton. Isn't that so strange? These big, scary beasts, they eat the plankton. That plankton must be delicious. And what do you think about podcasts and the word podcast? Do you like that name or do you despise it? The name's been around a while now. I think, didn't it celebrate its 10th anniversary of the origin of the name? So people know this name by now, and they're familiar with the symbol that, like, it looks like somebody's head and radio waves coming out of it. Apple uses that symbol a lot, that logo. So people are familiar with it, and I think Aaron Fonseca doesn't know jack and he should shut up about the whole "it doesn't test well" minutia. Oh no, we've just been invaded by an alien crashing through the roof. Look, everyone, it's Nern. Hello, Mike, this is Nern from the planet Nern. I am a Nernian, and you should accept the fact that the word podcast doesn't test well, and own it, and keep being called a podcast. Thank you, Nern. I will take that advice. Thank you. I feel reinforced. I'm going to keep saying Mike's Daily Podcast and march to the beat of my own drum. Hey, did you like that Jennifer Aniston joke? Yes, her reverse shag in the 90s did snag a lot of male humans, and it was fly. Oh, Nern, that is quite a dated expression. Mike, I am an Nernian, and I am constantly flying in and out of dimensions. Oh, and by the way, I did not die in that episode like a year ago. I am back. Did you notice that? Yeah, we kind of surmised that with your appearance just now. Do you want to say anything to him, John Deere, the engineer?
Yes. I think I was the one that accidentally killed you
in that episode about a year ago, and I would like to apologize.
No problem. Everything is okay. Totes.
Totes! I like that expression. I'm going to start using that right now because it's new and fresh.
You're welcome, Floyd the Floorman. Now I must go back to Nang. There he goes, back into space, into orbit, thank God. And what did you think about that wonderful presentation? Our bit of sci-fi on today's Mike's Daily Podcast here at Cafe Anyway. Anyway, anything can happen. It's just sort of anyway. Any way you want it, that's the way you need it. And are you a fan of Moss, like Chely Shoehart? Mike Matthews, I think it's gross, but I like the name. And are you a fan of Crims Hesworth, or does he make you feel self-conscious and like, oh, I need to work out more? Email me, mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. We read your comments on the section emails from email. Also, email me there if you'd like to be a guest on the show, or if you'd like to sponsor the show, mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. And there is also the website, mikesdailypodcast.com, with links to where to listen to this show in iTunes. You can comment on the show and rate the show. If you do that, more people will find out about us. As you know, we don't want to languish in obscurity. Like John Mayer was talking about at the beginning of the show, that you need to support independent podcasters because they need your help oh so much. Mike Matthews, John Mayer is like so hot. And Crims Hesworth. Exactly. And then there's also links to where to listen to the show on YouTube, SoundCloud, TuneIn, the TuneIn radio app for your smartphone, Stitcher, Podomatic, Mixcloud, Spreaker. We're on Player FM. And now we are on AmeristreamLive.com. You can listen to all kinds of amazing podcasts at that website, AmeristreamLive.com. And you can also share the show with your friends. We're on Facebook. Like the Facebook page. And when I post a new show, share it with your friends, and more people will find out about us that way. We're also on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter. And when I tweet a new show, retweet that to your friends, and more people find out about us. We're also on Instagram, Yelp, and Tumblr. Links to all of those at mikesdailypodcast.com. You can also see the podcast picture, read the blog, and catch all my past interviews. And support the show through the Amazon link. If you're going to buy anything, support us by buying something through Amazon by going through mikesdailypodcast.com first.
Mike on mobile.
I'm speaking with Dee Edward and Jenna Lavoie. They are singing on the song Show Me, which we heard on the last podcast. It's from Dee Edward's album Love Is. And I wanted to ask you guys, what got you into making music?
Oh, wow. That's, I started in music in elementary school. That's back when they had music in schools. I guess they do now, too. I started, I think my first instrument I played in like 3rd or 4th grade was trumpet. Oh, I was in the choir before that. I was like in the, not choir really, like the choral, like on 3rd grade. What kind of stuff is that? But that's kind of where I started, and I grew up just listening in a musical household. Nobody were musicians, but like my mom and my stepdad and my brothers all loved music. And so there was music on the radio, and, we had a record player. And so that's kind of what influenced me. And for some reason, I always wanted to be a performer. Even when I was in elementary school, I used to do some weird things to get attention. That were, they were around like movies that I had seen. And actually, when I was a kid, I was really into Charlie Chaplin in elementary school. It was totally weird. Yeah, I don't know why. And I still love Charlie Chaplin. I think he's a genius. Like for Halloween, I was Charlie Chaplin one year. And, yeah, like in the 3rd grade or something like that. Totally. I had my grandmother's cane. My mom, she totally supported it too. My mom had a derby hat that I think she bought it. She either bought it for me. She must have bought it for me. Yeah, and then I think I had like an old jacket of my stepdad's, and it was just the whole. Yeah, I still love Charlie Chaplin. So I always kind of wanted to be a performer. And I think that's what it was. So
You know that he shot some movies over in the East Bay.
yeah, in Niles.
Yeah.
Niles was like it was like the Hollywood of those days. Like I don't know when that was. I guess the early 1900s. Niles was the Hollywood of the movie business. So
Well, that's so. When did you first like start sitting down? Because you play the piano. You're a multi-instrumentalist though, because you're also a percussionist with Confunction.
right, Confunction. Yeah. So I play piano. I'm a songwriter. I play guitar on this song called "Don't Say" on the new album.
Hey, let's play that in a second.
All right. Yes, I play guitar on that song, but I'm not a guitar player. I don't consider myself, but I am a keyboard player. But so I started taking piano lessons. I think when I was in middle school, which was kind of so. I was taking piano lessons in middle school, and it was an old lady who I loved. Her name was Beverly Frank. She was like 1,000 years old, and she was like having me do like boogie woogie stuff, but really really slow. And I'm like, that's not how. I'm not feeling this. But it was great. I mean, because it was, you have to start from somewhere. But then I got into high school. I went to Berkeley High, and I had friends that were like classmates that were in bands, and they were like doing gigs because they had like older brothers that were like doing stuff, and they were doing gigs like in San Francisco. And I'm like, oh, cool. And so I was like, that's what I want to do. And so that's kind of really where it started. And then so yeah, piano lessons in middle school, and then I started taking conga lessons. Like when I was, I want to say like 16, because I wasn't good enough on keyboards to go out and play gigs, and I had this dream that I totally wanted to be on stage like my friends, and I had this dream that I was on stage and I was playing congas, and I convinced my mom to go and buy me some congas at this place in San Leandro. It's this place called Music Unlimited, and she went and bought some congas, which I still own. But yeah, and so that's kind of where it started. Yeah, at 16, I found a teacher and.
Wait, all right, I'm a complete idiot. What is did you say kunga?
A kunga is a drum. It's like a hand drum. So if you've ever seen like Santana, it's like, or like I don't know who else has kunga. Like everybody has kungas. They used to back in the day.
Is it that thing in Smooth when Santana, and it starts off with that dun 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 dun.
Okay, so those are timbales and kungas at the same time. So timbales, if you look at if you Google Tito Puente plays timbales. They're these brass drums, right? But if
Sheila E.
also plays timbales, but she also plays kungas. So kungas are like there's a skin on them. They're made out of wood, and they're about 3 feet high, and there's a skin that's on top of them, and you play those. Okay. Yeah, you play those with your hands, not sticks.
Got it. Okay.
So yeah, that's what I started. That's really what got me into really performing, where I was a percussionist, and then so in high school I was the drummer for the Afro-Haitian dance classes, and just kind of progressed through there. But all the while I was still listening to like music on the radio, and being a songwriter. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to eventually do what I'm doing now. It took a long time, but here I am.
And how did you meet up with Confunction?
I was a percussionist in a cover band. So I quit my job I want to say 12, 13 years ago to pursue music, because I never thought that I gave enough of a shot. And so I was playing for about a year. I was not making any money, and I was playing in this little hole-in-the-wall venue in Pleasanton with a cover band. We were doing R&B cover stuff, right? And we were playing we would play Confunction songs. And so it just so happened this drummer came and sat in. His name was Darwin Tillery. He was the drummer for Confunction. And so after the first set, he stood up and he was like, "You're bad. Give me your number. And that's he took my number, and it took about 2 years for me to actually get the call to play with them. And then once I did, they kept calling me, and they've been calling me ever since. So that's how it happened. I kind of fell into it.
Kind of like that guy that took over for Steve Perry and Journey. They were like, "Hey, you're doing our songs anyway, and be in the band."
Right. And he now his is even more incredible because he barely speaks English. because he's from the Philippines, but he sounds exactly like Steve Perry, So
Arnel Pineda. Now you're from Rhode Island, Jenna.
Rhode Island, the small state that people never hear of.
It's very small, which we have no concept of here in the sprawl of the Bay Area.
No, everybody's like, oh, San Francisco is so small. I mean, I don't know. Rhode Island is small. I mean, you can drive across it in like an hour,
Wow.
But yeah, that's where I grew up, and I came out of the womb singing, and it was.
What were you singing? We gotta get out of this place.
Yeah. Yes, I was singing that. I mean, this is answering your question about how I started music, and I couldn't stop singing since I was really young, and I did some of the same things Dale did. I started playing flute when I was in elementary school, and I mean, I wasn't good at it. I didn't really like it. I just wanted to sing. I was like, well, like every kid has to play an instrument. I don't know what it is. The parents are like, you're playing clarinet, and and some people stick with it, and some people are like, I'm never playing clarinet again. I just didn't want to play flute, so put it down. But I was in choir since I was young, and I didn't really understand that I could sing. I didn't understand what was happening until like probably junior high, when I joined this choir and I started doing all these competitions, and they started having me do these like solo and ensemble things, and I tried out for this all-state choir where everybody like in the state came and only a certain amount of people could get in. I was in the top 3. I was like, oh, okay, I guess I can kind of do this, But I think the real moment where I realized was they asked me at my middle school to sing Amazing Grace for like an honors night, and I didn't tell my parents I was doing it. I just got up there and sang it a cappella, and everybody was like, what the hell? Like, who are you? And after that moment, I was like, oh, I guess, I think I like this, which is really cool. But high school, I got more serious about it, and our choir was like one of those super strict, serious choirs that was like, you better, you learn this and get good at this music theory. And I was a soprano 1, and it was super serious. We had all these competitions, and it was like Sister Act, but without the whole drama behind it and nuns. But yeah, I did that, and I did tons of competitions and played in random rock bands. I thought I was a little punk rock kid, and it was really funny. I did a lot of national anthem things, and like performed the national anthem a bunch of times, and talent shows. And then I was like, oh, I'm gonna actually do this as a career. Like, I want to do this. And it was hard because growing up, that was not practical, But it was in 2006 where I wasn't happy. I was like, I'm not even doing any music. I'm going to go to California and figure things out. And so things really started in San Francisco. Like, really, I started writing from a little bit of guitar. I didn't really know it well, but I collaborated with a guitarist here. His name was Michael Pappenberg, and we wrote songs together and performed as Jenna Lavoie, and I had a band here. And we played all over San Francisco. I lived here for 3 years, and then I went straight to LA by myself, and I started writing from piano and guitar. Still would never play them on stage because I would not say that I play them. Like, I don't play them. I could construct songs, but I don't actually play them. It's not real. And I had like a label opportunity when I was there, and it wasn't a good match for me. It was, but anyway, I'm now playing ukulele, and it's been an incredible year for me, a really incredible year. And
what is it about the ukulele?
It's this magical thing. I don't know. I just have to say that I started playing it before it became this crazy, trendy thing. I don't know. Someone said to me, what's like the deal with like little cute girls playing guitar, ukulele? And I was like, what do you mean? Like, come on, this is unique, right? No, everybody plays ukulele now, which is cool. It's a really great instrument. And I want you to know.
That on the way here, when I took BART, there was a young kid with red hair playing like a beautiful blue ukulele, and he was out on the platform, and in Pod Castro Valley the noise is so loud right there on the platform. because the cars are whizzing by, and I said to him, "Great acoustics, huh?" And he looked at me and went, "What?" So he wasn't one of our smarter ukulele players, but
That's awesome. Yeah, a lot of things happened for me here in San Francisco from busking, from playing on the street. And I met some pretty big people in the industry, from kind of like D. Edward.
Like me, no.
Well, actually, kind of, because I was playing. So I first came back. I kind of got stuck back here. After LA, I went to the Midwest, but I came back here, and I wasn't supposed to stay, and I got stuck, quote unquote. But I started writing an investment proposal and going to a counselor that helps me write them. So afterwards, I was like, I need a break from all this business stuff. You know, I'm going to go play some music. So I went to the Embarcadero, started playing music, and this guy pulled over from his car and sat next to me, and he ended up being, he was a sound manager at Skywalker Ranch for a long time, and he was a Grammy member.
Well, that's Bob. Huh?
Bob Levy, yeah.
Bob was also Santana's road manager for years, back in the heyday.
Yeah. So he brought me to the Grammy nomination party where I met D. Edward.
Is that how that works?
That's how it happened. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, D, I wanted to ask you about the song "Don't Say." I love the groove and the bass on this. See, I wrote it down right there.
Awesome.
I love the groove. And he did. He wrote that. He really wrote it.
I did.
That must mean you mean it.
I go by a script with my interviews, and everything is written down. No, "Don't Say" from your album "Love Is." Tell me about the song.
Oh, wow. So that song it's a groove song, you know. So one of my favorite artists growing up was Sade, and so I'm always trying to get to the Sade point.
Wait, Sade?
Yeah. Yeah.
I say Sade because I grew up in Ventura, California. We're like, oh, look, it's Sade.
Yeah.
But you say Sade?
No, I said Sade.
Sade? Is there an R in there?
It was Sade.
It's Sade. Yeah, it's not Sade. That's what it's not.
It's not safe.
But we're talking like feels right.
Yeah.
It's paradise and smooth operator.
Right, exactly. And so that's kind of my tribute song to her, because she's got that really locked in groove, and so back in the 90s she was the bomb. And so growing up, that was I love her music. I still do. And so that's kind of a tribute to her in a way.
This is no ordinary love.
Yeah. So who I still love Sade, by the way. Sade, if you're listening.
Yeah, Charlie.
So anyway, that's it's a groove song, it's just a groove. I'm playing guitar in it. It's the one song on the album that I'm playing guitar, mainly because it's like one guitar chord, but I have a lot of rhythm.
What? Hey, I just had a Harry Carey moment. Hey, I had a question. I was just thinking that I used to piss off my ex-wife because I loved Sade's "By Your Side" so much, and that song would come on, and I would just, and I can't think of a single. What's the chorus to that? I can't even.
I know the synth line on it.
Oh, when you go by your side, baby.
Yeah, by your side, baby. Something.
So we love Sade. Or Sade.
Yeah, we do love Sade. That's not me saying your name wrong, Sade. Just so you know, I love you.
So this is "Don't Say," slightly inspired by Sade, and it's D. Edward from his album "Love Is." D. Edward Music .com.
My mixer guy, Starita, he says that I sound like Lenny Kravitz on there.
Oh, I have a new one for you. Somebody keeps telling me that you sound like Seal.
Oh,
yeah.
I sound like a seal.
No, very different. Very different. Seal. That's a great compliment.
I was gonna say you could busk at Pier 39 then.
Yeah.
Okay, that's next.
On the docks.
No, I feel some of the soulfulness of Seal in your music. I would agree.
Oh, awesome! That really. Oh.
That's a great compliment. Yeah.
Well, I feel like tearing up now.
Do it.
Don't cry, not alone. All right, "Don't Say." It's D. Edward on Mike's Daily Podcast.
That's the Edward. And don't say, yeah, this is my totally fly speaking voice, because that's a term that's current and hip.
As we go outside, the last place on earth where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast, somewhere in Podcastro Valley, California, here at Cafe Anyway. And next show will be the finale of my Into It interview with D. Edward and Jenna Lavoie, and we'll hear some more D. Edward music.
And here's today's podcast picture.
So I went for the very first time to San Francisco's Chinese New Year, and it was a blast. I enjoyed it. It starts like at 5:30 in the evening on a Saturday night, goes to like 8 o'clock. Firecrackers going off all over the streets. It is just loud and fun and colorful, beautiful, kind of transcendent, actually. I liked it. And at one point, this guy comes up with a dragon, like, you know, the Chinese dragon, and inside of it is a little kid. And so I got a picture of that. You can see that picture now at mikesdailypodcast.com. Oh my God, that's like so cute. Are we still recording? Is your computer still working? I think it crashed a long time ago. I don't know how we're recording any of this. This is bizarre.
Mike Matthews, I think we're using tape.
Really? So people listening to this right now, they're playing it back on actual tape?
Yes, Mike, we've given everyone a cassette. We've supplied the world with magnetic tape.
That's amazing. That's almost as old as the arthropods. And I heard back in the day, magnetic tape actually used to eat plankton. I heard this, Chely. Oh my God, plankton is gross. Almost as much as moss? Yeah. But you should go try and find Elizabeth Mossgrove. My first crush ever in my life, Elizabeth Mossgrove. I wonder what the hell happened to her. I'm going to look her up because I'm pathetic and single. So the next show, we're going to bring you the finale of my Into It interview with the amazing soulful artist D. Edward and the lovely, lovely Jenna Lavoie. Plus, we will hear from Benita, the disgruntled fiddle player, and the brewmaster.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!